Hello everybody, it's me again. Yes, that mad facilities person. Sorry. I wanted to make this vlog. It's been a while since I made my last one. And I'm nervous. People say, him? Nervous? He's always got something to say. Maybe I have, maybe I've not. But this week, a couple of things really has driven me to look at this blog. One would have been, if my late father had died 25 years ago, would have been alive, he would have been 80. Which I guess in this day and age, that's a young age. You know, we're living longer. The expectancy now, I read just before Christmas, is 120. In 100 years, we'll live to 120. So if you think about it, anybody born in the next 2 years will actually live to the 120 years of age. My goodness me. And retire at 90. Oh. But who knows where we'll go when there's austere times. But again, my late father was an humble man. Not trained. Well, he did his 4-year apprenticeship. 4 years. And he was a welder. So it wasn't he hadn't got an eye-powered job. It was just certainly a manual job. I can always remember him coming home from work and my mum would go mad at him because his trousers would be full of holes. He forgot to put his overalls on. And of course the welds had sparked back and he got holes in his trousers. So that was always a debate in our house. But my dad had won competitions for welding. Yes, welding competitions. Wow, I hear people say. I've still actually got the razor blade that he welded upstairs somewhere. Oh, yeah, a razor blade? Weld? Think about that. Must be one of the hardest things out. So when these people say, doing a bit of this, doing a bit of that, actually, you try welding a razor blade. I guarantee you'd probably melt it, because I remember I tried once and I did. He showed me how to weld, but don't be wrong, I'd never weld again. But my dad was a humble guy, but he had 4 things he always taught me and my late brother, which was integrity, honesty, treat people as you want them to treat, and if you've got an idea, go for it. Live by your values and dreams. If somebody tries to put you down, never allow them to. As he used to say to me, the guy who invented that wheel was probably told, that's mad, it'll never happen. Now, if I'd have sat here 100 years ago and I'd have said, I'm making a vlog onto an iPad, little thing to press a button, this, I'd have probably been, I'd have probably been locked up, let's face it, in all honesty. So that's how technology changed that short period of time. My dad died in 1993. He certainly didn't know the internet. I don't even think he knew mobile phones, probably did. He certainly didn't know what online was. And Sky TV to him was something that was, 4 channels. I remember when Channel 4 came out, he was amazed that we'd got 4 TV channels. To him that was amazing. So let's just work on our things. But let's come back to what I was saying about integrity, honesty, live by your dreams. And the 4 values that he always instilled in me and my brother. And hopefully I've lived by those values. I have shaped things, I've innovated, I've stolen things, ideas, I've redeveloped ideas, I've rethought it through. But I've never really tried to redo that wheel. My dad was a union activist. I remember back in 1974 being with my dad, who was knocking doors, canvassing for the Labour candidate in February. Oh, that was a cold February. It was an even wetter October. Yes, we had 2 general elections in the 1 year. It was Harold Wilson's government formed. But my dad was always one of these who'd live by and say what he did. He wasn't a union activist who believed in strikes. He would never bring his men out on strike unless that was the last thing. He actually wanted to make sure that it was about fairness for everybody. It was about that integrity. It was about the values given. So he was always around that. Then he changed allegiances. He changed political allegiances. I remember him doing that greatly. But above all, he also lived in the social values of where everybody, and that's what I want to talk about today. For him, when I said to him I wanted to go into the NHS, he was so proud. His mum had worked in the NHS, as many of you have heard a past vlog. But he also knew that the NHS was something shaped. And let's look at the NHS as a thing. It can, we're hearing about winter pressures. I've been hearing about winter pressures for 1980. Austere times. our steer times are with us. There is no more money. We have to live by that. This government is not going to give us any money. And even if we had a change of government, that doesn't mean to say we'll get instant pot of money. Yes, 2 years ago, we were lied to. That great big boss said we were going to get £350 million a year, and I will never let Boris off that one. And his other sidekicks, you know, that to me was, that lacked integrity. They spun it, and that's not what integrity is about, or honesty. Honesty is about saying it as it is, and some people were conned by that. But let's part that. Let's just come back to where we are. There's no more money. So how can we make the NHS better? Well, let's look at the NHS. It can only value on one great thing. That's its people. We can replace beds, we can replace lights, but we can't replace the people who work in it. And they're the best resource that the NHS has got, its people. And my goodness, you know, they're fantastic. Whether they're the surgeon, the nurse, the occupational therapist, the dietitian, the healthcare cleaner, the caterer, the porter, the security, the facilities, gentlemen changing the lights, estates, the lady who's just booking people in, they've all got a part to play in our NHS. But above all, they all show the same attributes: their integrity, their honesty, they're caring, they're compassionate, and they're dedicated. And I think we have to think of those, you know, it's the 6 C's with a few added extras. But above all, we know that we're going to have to, things aren't going to ever be the same. With where we are on steer times and the financial implications, things are going to have to be not done. We'll have to stop certain things. We have to live in reality. Certain things will not get done. Operations will get delayed. We have to live in that reality. We cannot make the pound do more. We can assist it doing a little bit better, but we can't make it do a lot more. So something has to give. But above all, one thing that we have got, and that's the NHS FAB Stuff.net, the FAB Academy, which I'm so proud to be an ambassador. I'm so proud to be a regional coordinator for the East Midlands with Anne-Marie Riley. And who'd have thought? Me? Just an humble guy, a chef by trade, a caterer, a facilities person, interacting with so many clinical people. But you know, they don't look at it like that. They look at it as we all play a role to play. And that's why we should share the FAB stuff. If we are to make the NHS better, make our pound go further, stop reinventing the wheel. Simple, stop reinventing. Share the FAB stuff. Not the best practice, but the good practice. I hate the word personally, that's my personal view on best practice. I've worked with organisations who say, we've got best practice. A lot of the time it means I want to do it my own way, and it's not the best way, it's just their way. I'm one for good practice, because for me good practice makes excellent. It delivers good things. The same as I am with what gets measured gets better. But what we shouldn't have, what gets measured gets better, gets hit with a stick if you're not quite reaching it. It's about measuring and driving change together. So for me, coming back to where I was with my father, he would have said to me, do you know, the NHS FAB Stuff, what a great academy. What a great way of sharing ideas, sharing best practice, but above all, giving integrity, honesty, compassion and belief to everybody who wants that. And that's where really I'm going to sign off on. Remember those things. Remember the biggest thing you do tomorrow is integrity. Treat everybody as you would want your mum treated or your dad. But above all, believe in you, yourself. You're the person who makes the difference. You're the person who makes change happen. Thank you.